Whew. Okay, so this is going to be tricky. It's 3:26 in the morning. We are just leaving St David's. I will pause the music because I didn't think that was going to work while the camera was going. It doesn't normally. Looks really bright for 3:26 in the morning. I look like my dad. Brilliant. That's what I needed. And this needs to be a non-spoiler driving home review of Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. So first off, it was great when we arrived because Darth Vader, Chewbacca and a stormtrooper were wandering around, and I had an R2-D2 hat on, and the stormtrooper had an Imperial officer with him who pointed at my hat and said to the stormtrooper, "That's the droids we've been looking for," at which point I turned to the stormtrooper and went, "These aren't the droids you're looking for," and the stormtrooper turned back to the dude and went, "These aren't the droids we're looking for." So that was just like 7-year-old me clapping with glee and jumping up and down. Went and took our seats, and we'd had this whole conversation before we went in of after our experience with Frozen 2 a couple of weeks ago, where Frozen kept freezing and took forever to get to the actual film to start, and they had to keep rebooting it. We were like, oh, we hope that doesn't happen again. And I was telling Paul all about the fact that when I went to the first Fantastic Beasts midnight showing, it took 4 attempts to get going because the 4DX kept going wrong, and we were chuckling, hope that doesn't happen again. 10-1 the film started. They could not get the film to start. We sat for what, 20 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the film started, we were expecting the film, midnight showing, you expect the film to start at midnight. No, they started running the basic start of the programme at midnight, so we had 20 minutes of the usual adverts and trailers.
Yeah. Oh, barriers are just up. We didn't have to pay. Damn it, could have got away with that.
It's only £4.
Yeah, I know, but it's £4. So yeah, we sat in the dark for the better part of 20 minutes, and the staff didn't bother coming in and telling us there was a problem. And it was like, if I get up and go and try and find someone, is it just going to come on? Am I going to miss something? So no one dared move. So yeah, it wasn't. The service from that point of view was terrible. Cineworld, thank you very much. And
not impressed.
We weren't impressed. You will be getting another one of my shitty emails, which you will give me another standard bog response to, I'm sure. At which point you may find I become an Odeon Limitless customer. So the film then started. It's the minute I went for a piss, obviously, but then paused halfway up the crawl. So I came in and that was just paused on the screen. I was stood there trying to read it. Then it kicked off again for about another 30 seconds and then paused on a, just a wherever it was.
An intro shot.
Yeah, and then went back to sat in the dark for 20 minutes, and then they finally came and told us what the problem was. Disney had sent them the wrong file, so the codes and things weren't right. They were downloading the new one. Computer said it was going to be 5 minutes to download the file, blah, 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 blah. We will have the film on. It was probably another 15 minutes after that, I reckon. So eventually the film did start. And I did spend the first, I reckon, about third of the film just going, well, this is okay, but I wasn't enamoured and I wasn't excited. There's basically loads of setup. There's a certain amount of just getting everything together so the end can happen, is the best way to describe it. But I was sat there watching it through that first third thinking, this really, really reminds me, oh, we've gone red, we are Sith. Really, really reminds me of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows.
Fitting.
Your First Order cup. I've got an R2-D2 cup, obviously.
Obviously.
So yeah, so it just felt to me, I was watching it thinking, this just really reminds me of kind of feel, tone, and to a degree beats, not story per se, to Deathly Hallows, book and film part 1. And that feeling didn't go away at any point, I have to say. That feeling still hasn't gone away. Now that's not a bad thing, because actually I love both parts of the Deathly Hallows. I think part 1 makes for a bit of a duller movie, split out in such a way. But I understand why they did what they did. But also as a book, I absolutely adore it. So I don't have a problem with, and not to say this is what they've done by any stretch, but sort of picking up Deathly Hallows and going, oh, let's make this into Star Wars. But that's kind of my feeling for it, which I think will make sense to more people once they've seen it. There was an obvious point that, you know, if you've got any half a brain cell, you will realise has to be coming in this film because of real life events. Broke me completely. Oh, fuck me, I sobbed. And I cried in several places, to be honest. I cried during the end credits when, rightly so, is it count a spoiler if I talk about the credits? No, I can't do it.
Potentially, depending on... If you're going to talk about the thing I think you're going to talk about...
I'm not going to talk about that. No. It's the fact that the first name up is Carrie Fisher.
No, that's not a spoiler.
No, because it's just, you know that the names are going to appear at the end. So after it goes, directed by J.J. Abrams, as all Star Wars films go straight into as the music picks up, the next name up was Carrie Fisher, and I was gone again. Sat there, fucking tears streaming down my face. It was hard, I can't lie. But there was something... No, that's a spoilery thing. I can't say that.
There's going to be lots of this during this review.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. But I really liked it. I do really want to see it again, because I always find certainly films that I'm invested in this sort of way, you've got to watch more than once, because now you're not constantly mind frantically trying to pace to the next bit, and you know what's coming. You can just kind of take in stuff more. I think it doesn't probably all add up or make a great deal of sense. I think there's probably plot holes the size of a planet killer in it, but it's a good Star Wars film. It's popcorn fluff. You know, go back to the original trilogy, which, you know, everyone treats like the Holy Grail or what have you. They are plot hole galore. They do not stack up if you stop and think about it. But that's the whole point of Star Wars. That was Lucas's whole thing. They're not meant to. They are supposed to be like the old Saturday morning serials, where one Saturday you would go and Buck Rogers would fall off a cliff, and then you'd go the next Saturday and that whole ending would have kind of been mildly retconned so he didn't die. That's what these films are. So I think if you're going to get massively bogged down with minutiae, that can't happen because this is me, you're onto a hiding for nothing. This is Star Wars. It's not what it's about. Get a fucking grip. I've rattled on for 8 minutes. What did you think?
I absolutely loved it.
You were giggling a lot through it.
I was. So were you, actually.
I did giggle a lot.
Because there are some genuinely funny moments in it.
Yeah.
It's a very fitting capstone to what's probably been one of the most formative and influential movie series of our generation. So, you know, people in their, you know, sort of 40s, early 50s.
Yeah, because we were what, 6, 7 when the phenomenon launched on the world.
Yeah.
So we were the right people at that time.
Yeah. So obviously we have grown up with this, and obviously everyone's aware of real life events. Everyone going into this movie will have expectations of how things are going to pan out because of said real life events. Everyone will probably have expectations based on their respective reactions to The Force Awakens versus The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Which I know is a very contentious subject for a lot of people. But I do actually think, regardless of where you sit on The Last Jedi, is a great big pile of versus it was an okay movie that missed a couple of beats and tried to do something different and maybe didn't really work, or think it's the best thing to happen to Star Wars ever. I think wherever you sit in that camp, you will get something from this movie. But yeah, it is absolutely 100% pure popcorn, pure visual spectacle. It absolutely takes some of the stuff that had me catching my breath in The Force Awakens and basically multiplies it 100-fold. There's some genuinely funny moments. There are, again, some genuinely moving moments. Some very good misdirections, I have to admit, from how I thought things would pan out based on the trailer compared to how they actually panned out. So, kudos to the trailer makers for that one.
I think J.J. Abrams is particularly good at that, though.
Yes. But I think it's absolutely a movie that everyone needs to see and make up their own mind about it. But I think wherever you sit, you would not be disappointed by this. This is probably one of the most solid movies of this year for me.
Well, considering this is the third time, right, we've gone to the movies and thought, I'm watching a Star Wars film for the last time, because we did it with Jedi,
Yep.
we did it with Sith,
Yep.
and now we're doing it today, right? This one felt emotionally like I've actually got an ending and I'm walking away from it. In a strangely quite exhausting but satisfying way, with a little hint of sadness, because you genuinely do think this is done. This is done with now. I am never going to sit and watch a proper new Star Wars film again. And like I said, I've kind of had that feeling twice before in my life. But when we were kids, when Star Wars was just Star Wars, it was just Star Wars, and there was always that, oh, is Vader still alive because his TIE fighter spun off, and and then very quickly it was announced there was going to be a Star Wars 2, and blah, 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 blah. So you kind of always had that thing going on. So it was always when Jedi came out, I'm never going to see another Star Wars movie again. But by that point, you knew that they'd turn around and said, oh, we will at some point do 1, 2, and 3, and 7, 8, 9, and then it was looking like it had been an awfully long time, and perhaps they wouldn't. And 1, 2, and 3 happened. And at the end of it, because I'm not a massive fan of Revenge of the Sith, it was well, there we are. That's the story complete. He's never going to go and do that other end trilogy. Plus, at that point, there was expanded universe and books and things like that. So you kind of just took it as given that was that, and you were done. But this properly, emotionally felt big as an ending to me.
Yeah, I think this is the one that felt like you've reached the end of the book, and it's been an interesting ride. There's been chapters you've slogged through. There's been chapters where you've had the whole, I'm just going to stay up and read for another 4 hours, even though I need to get up in 3 hours time for work type scenario.
I have done this before.
I think we all have.
Yeah.
And it is very bittersweet, because no matter what happens to the Star Wars universe, I mean, there's stuff going on now. You've got the Mandalorian on the Disney Channel. It's fairly obvious it's a Disney vehicle now. There's going to be other Star Wars themed stuff.
You've got the Obi-Wan series, you've got the Cassian Andor series coming.
Exactly. But this genuinely felt like the end. You've read the final sentence, and it's just that the end at the very end of the book as you close it and put it down.
Again, to me, that relates to Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Because that was a journey from I didn't get into them till 2000. I was a couple of years late.
I should point out I've never really gotten into them.
Yeah, but then coming to the end of that book series, that was like this is a full ending. I know there's now like Cursed Child and Fantastic Beasts again, but there is that big ending feeling to it, which is, you know, when you're invested in something and have been for 42 years, that's quite a punch. But the only thing I would say, just to end off, is it's Star Wars. There is no mid or end credits thing. I stayed to the end because it was my last time to sit through the proper Star Wars music till the very end in the cinema like that for the first time on a film, blah 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 blah. But I would say just read the full cast list as that scrolls up, because I think no matter how hard you've tried, you'll find at least one name in there that surprises you. That's all I'm saying on that. So that's our thoughts on Rise of Skywalker without trying to give any spoilers away. Go see it on a big screen. Do it before Christmas, because after Christmas I think it's all going to feel flat, because after Christmas is always flat. Make it the little present for yourself.